You do what you want to. You reject God if you want to. You tell Americans that if they embrace God, you're going to persecute them with the FBI if you want to.
Oh, God.
You go get them. Call them white supremacists, why don't you? Let's set everybody against one another as enemies based on whatever.
Ladies and gentlemen, this might be the craziest hearing I have ever seen. Roll the clip.
I just wanted to respond to Mr. Cohen and Mr. Bishop. I'd appreciate your input on this, but my understanding of the Declaration of Independence is that it talked about certain self-evident truths, and it is not talking about the speed limit that a legislature sets or some other laws that are enacted, but the three basic rights that we have, life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness, are, in the view of the founders and in my view, and I think in many other Americans' views, given to us by God. That doesn't mean that God makes a decision on every single law that is passed in this country. That doesn't mean that God doesn't frown sometimes when there are horrible historical, I don't want to call them mistakes because that really undermines the seriousness of it, but actions by human beings like slavery, like the denial of the right to vote and some other things. But life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness are recognized in our founding documents as given to us by God, and those rights are the rights that everything else flows from. And I yield back to the gentleman from North Carolina.
I thank you, Mr. Buck, and I really yielded to you, Mr. Buck, rather than speaking first, because it boggles the mind what was just expressed by my friend from Tennessee. Except what was said earlier here today that I think is apt, both by Mr. Roy and then also by you, Mr. Buck, I think, and Mr. Johnson. Well, Mr. Roy and Mr. Johnson, I think, who said that it just falls to the Republican Party to be the party that values human life and protects it. The other side doesn't. Well, we've just seen something else that epitomizes the Democratic Party of today. We hold these truths to be self-evident, that all men are created equal and endowed by our Creator with certain inalienable rights. Among these are life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. Not to Mr. Cohen. Not to Mr. Cohen. He embraces that modern Democratic Party's view that it's not about God, it's not about God's will or what God has created in mankind. You cannot trace rights to the existence of God or the creation by God of all creation and humanity in His image. That's all passé. That's old party, that's old talk. That's archaic. Okay, that's what we're up against, just so Americans know. But just as for me, I'm absolutely certain that Thomas Jefferson and the other authors of the Declaration were correct. I'm certain that this country succeeds because of a beneficent and forgiving and caring God.
Mr. Biggs, will you yield for a question?
Look, I'd be defensive too. I would try to intercede. I'm not going to yield. I'm not going to yield. I'm not going to yield because I'm going to make this statement really clear so that even the Democrats can get it. You do what you want to. You reject God if you want to. You tell Americans that if they embrace God, you're going to persecute them with the FBI if you want to.
Oh, God.
You go get them. Call them white supremacists, why don't you? Let's set everybody against one another as enemies based on whatever thing that you can dream up to do. You do that. I'm going to stick to God. I'm going to cling to God like Barack Obama talked about. You do it. You do you. Anybody else want to speak?
Yeah, I'd like to speak.
I yield to the gentleman from. Yeah,
How about clinging to the truth?
Quite enough.
How about clinging to the truth for a moment?
For yielding. I thank gentlemen for
You
yielding.
said a mouthful. I yield to Mr. Johnson.
I apologize that I missed Mr. Cohen's speech.
The crazy thing to me is, see, the Democrats, they started saying, no, that's not what we do, and started laughing and mocking. But their actions show a very different story. See, if you if you're pro-life or if you're praying in public, they're going to send the feds after you. They're going to go after you. They're going to throw you in prison and throw away the keys. This country needs to turn back to God, and turn back to God quickly. Like, comment, subscribe, share if you agree. Trump 2024. Let's get it.